What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Chris and Tim podcast, episode number 24. We got Chris here today. How you doing today?
Pretty well. How's things going?
Not too shabby. Having a good day. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, especially a lot of Washington stuff, and it should be a lot of good. It should be a good time. Good time. Bob Ester's in the chat. First time in like a month when I'm not first. Lol. He says, "What's good, Jairus? You hyped for the season to start?"
Yeah.
What's
up, Roger?
Roger Smith is here. What's up, Roger? How you doing? All right. You ready to hop into these topics?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. So first and foremost, we just want to briefly touch on this because it did happen within the past week, is this Dan Snyder fined $10 million after the investigation was concluded by Beth Wilkinson. And I just want to ask you, Chris, briefly, do you think the $10 million was worth it? Does it matter to you? What's your thoughts on this matter?
This matter that it don't matter. The money, the $10 million, ain't $10 million off our cap, so I don't care.
Fair enough.
If it was $10 million off our cap, somebody got to go.
And that somebody's got to be Dan Snyder, right? You got to get out of here.
Dan. I like Dan, but Dan, unless Dan gonna take $10 million out of his bank account and put it into the cap or something like that. Yeah.
Fair enough. No, I just think it's like just a hilarious amount of money with a guy that's worth $2.6 billion to have all these accusations under his roof, and it comes up with. They come up with $10 million. I don't know where that number comes from. I guess that money's going to charity, I think I heard. It's not going to the women that were affected, but whatever. We just wanted to briefly bring it up that we're not ignoring it, but at the same time, I think it's just a laughable amount of money. I think that's just way too low, and it doesn't change anything. I don't even think he's going to be suspended. He made his wife the CEO to like kind of combat this, so I don't know what they're thinking, but who cares? And we'll move right on from that. What's up, Jason Tatum? All right, Jason Tatum's in the chat. Celtic. We're getting big now. Do you actually Are we being heard okay? Because my thing. Oh, there it says it went up to excellent condition. Sweet. We're good. All right. Now let's hop into the real topics, the real fun stuff. And first and foremost, we have the PFF rankings of every roster in the NFL, and Washington currently ranks, according to them, number 12 on the list out of 32 teams. Are we okay with that, Chris? Are we good?
No. Our roster should be a top 3 roster. Point blank, period. No points, no questions asked.
Okay.
The only problem with our roster is we don't have a quarterback. and even with us not having a quarterback, our roster without a quarterback is still a top 3 roster. And if we had a quarterback, it would be the best roster.
If you put any top 15 quarterback on this team, I don't think it's – I think I agree. If you just put any top 15 quarterback, like if we just didn't have like the 28th best quarterback in the league or 29th, this roster is probably top 3, if not the best. I actually do agree with that. I think that this roster is super deep. And to go into that of why I think this is
young.
Yeah, they're very, very young.
I think they should factor in age because you got to think about it. On those other teams, those guys probably in the last couple of years of their deals, they probably older. But
yeah, I mean, if you're looking for like the next 5 years, we have one of the best rosters. I think we're higher than 12. But if you're looking just for this season, I kind of see where they're going with that because they just want to see who is going to be one of the best teams this year instead of like projecting out. It depends on how you look at it. Both ways could be valid. But this is interesting to me. So PFF obviously gives every player a grade on a scale of 1 to 100. And they list all the starters on offense and defense for each time and what they got last season in PFF, whether that's on their college year or their latest NFL year. And what's interesting to me is we are the 12th best roster. Dallas is the 8th best roster. But if you add up the PFF scores, So take all the ratings and add up all the scores. You get Dallas's offense a total PFF grade of 875. Their defense a total of 812. And for a total of 1,687. Okay? That's their total roster is 1,687. According to PFF's own numbers, if you rank Washington compared to Dallas's offense at 875, Washington's offense is 913. So we're 40 points better there. And then Washington's defense is 920 compared to Dallas's 812. We're over 100 points better, according to PFF. And for a total of 1,834, we're a total of 150 points better than Dallas, according to PFF's own numbers. Then I was like, you know what? I'm just curious how we rank up against their number one team, according to PFF, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just won the Super Bowl. And again, we were 913 on offense. The Bucks were 886 on offense, so we're better offense, according to PFF. And then defensively, they were only 886 compared to our 920, so we're a better defense, according to PFF. And so, according to PFF's own numbers, they rank us 12th, but our roster is actually better than the number one team listed on their list. I think they just rank, they just value quarterback way too high. Or I don't know if you say way too high, but way, like, a lot. It's a lot weighted in on that quarterback position. But they're talking about roster. A complete roster. According to PFF's own numbers, we are the number one ranked, I didn't literally add up everybody's, but we are better than the number one rated team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you think we should actually be, even without the quarterback, should we be ranked number one with how deep we are?
Yep. No. I just had the Browns. The Browns just, including the quarterback, their defense is nowhere near close to ours, but their defense is still going to be great. Their offense is what their offense. I give them an edge until we find a quarterback, but yeah, I get a nod to the Browns right now because of the quarterback.
The Browns are ranked number 3, according to PFF on the roster. So yeah, their roster is extremely deep as well. That running back duo is insane with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. They have great receivers as well. OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Higgins.
Only tight end.
Offensive line, 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen are rated over 80.
They have us rated. We got a better O-line than them, according to whatever.
Well, I don't know. Like this O-line is pretty nasty.
It is.
And then their defense is rated all pretty high as well. They're getting Grant Delpit back from injury.
Woodsu, they got Davion Clowney. They drafted Greg Newsome. So now you got Greedy Williams, Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward, John Johnson, Grant Delpit. That secondary is nasty. Then you got linebacker Jeremiah Owusu in the middle. Then you got on the edge, you got Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, they got it. They stay healthy. Well, it's really just that Jadeveon Clowney that need to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, I mean, Myles Garrett gonna have a field day.
I'm also curious.
And they got Anthony Schwartz, I think.
Yeah, they did it from Auburn. The speedster.
They're ridiculous over there.
I was just say, Saints are actually ranked at number 17. That's interesting.
That's just the right spot.
That's just the right spot.
Their roster is not that good at all.
All right, so the teams that are above us, just to go through that real quick. Number 1 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 2 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3 is the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Number 4 is the Buffalo Bills.
No.
Number 5 is the Baltimore Ravens.
No.
Green Bay Packers at number 6.
Heck no.
Los Angeles Rams at number 7. They should probably be higher, huh?
No.
You don't think the Rams should be higher than 7?
Mm-mm.
Dallas Cowboys at number 8. Minnesota Vikings in the top 10 at number 9. Minnesota Vikings, yes.
And their roster's not that good at all. Please, no.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is way lower rated than us. Way lower. Obviously, they have Kirk Cousins. They do have one of the better wide receiver duos in the league with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
Neither one of them better than Terry. So,
I mean, that's fine, but
I think if you really want to get technical at this stage, I'd take Curtis over Thielen right now.
Dude, he had like 15 touchdowns last year. He's like
I'm not saying Thielen's trash. I'm just saying that Thielen's aging. So that's why I take Curtis for the age.
For next year, I would still take Adam Thielen. But I do understand your point that Curtis is moving up the boards. I like Curtis.
We got a better tight end.
Yeah, they actually rated our tight end pretty low. They have Irv Smith Jr. and Tyler Conklin. Broncos at number 10. The Broncos roster listed at number 10.
But it's still going to be higher than ours.
Which is interesting. Yeah, so I guess they have more faith than Drew Lock than a lot of people. I love Drew Lock personally, so I think he's going to be great. But that's just me. And then the only other team ahead of us ranked is the San Francisco 49ers.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Why? What do they got? Don't get me started on our offense is light years better than their offense. Unless you talk about coaching and the play calling, then fine. But as far as our offensive side of the ball is way better than theirs. Defense, don't get me started. Defense is not even close. So I guess, but I agree with like maybe 2 teams on that list: the Browns and I don't know who else.
The DRG, these are the rankings of the top rosters in the league. So the incomplete rosters, where do they rank? And we are ranked currently number 12, and those are the 11 teams ahead of us. I'm okay with like the Ravens. I think the Ravens are a pretty solid team. I'm okay with the Rams for now. I think the Packers with Aaron Rodgers and company, they have a really good offensive line. Their defense is suspect, but I'm okay with them for now.
Those their weaponry.
But by the end of the year, I think we will start to move up this list. I think it should be...
If Taylor Heineke's the quarterback, then we're number 1 easy.
By the end of the year, I think we'll probably push in top 5, honestly, as long as we stay healthy. And it's interesting.
If Fitzpatrick is a quarterback with 32. We're dead last.
We're dead last. So we're first or last, right? Ricky Bobby in it. We're Ricky Bobby. That's hilarious. No, it's an interesting exercise, but yeah, but at the same time, it's really awesome because we were ranked like 30th last season or something crazy. Like we were way down the bottom, and in one off season, basically, this team has turned in from one of the worst to pushing at the top 10, and we think they're higher, but the national media is ranking us right outside the top 10 in just one off season with this front office.
And if Saint Goat is what I think he is, I don't think it's even close I think our roster is by far the best in the league.
Saint Goat's not even listed on their players.
If Diami is what I think he is, it's not even close. And if Jared Patterson is actually like Darren Sproles, it's not close.
He's not Darren Sproles. He's not that fast.
He's fast enough. He's quick enough. They're gonna have some. We're gonna be fun to watch this year.
Yeah, when did Jared Patterson run? I thought he was only like a 4.5 guy.
He's quick.
Yeah, he's only a 4.51, which that's fine. He's quick, but he's not Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles is like low 4.3s, I think, or something crazy. Like, but he still could be a very interesting third down back, running back.
I think Patterson gonna get in. I think Patterson. We can use Patterson like we was using Chris Thompson. Patterson gonna eat.
All right. Continuing on the roster, I want your top 5 best players on the roster. Shout out to Corey on the Warpath. He gave me this idea. We're going to go through a couple of questions he had on his last podcast with the Washington Football Addicts. It was really good if you want to go listen to some. There's 4 guys that kind of created a friend group that are really into the Washington football team, and they're called the Washington Football Addicts, and they were on Corey on the Warpath just earlier this week. But anyway, shout out to Corey. And so, who are your top 5 players
Just in
on this
order.
roster? You can order it. That's fine. I'm not sure if mine are kind of in order. I'll just ride with this order. That's fine. I could ride with this order. But I have my top 5 right now written down, so I can't change mine. So if you want to give yours, and we'll compare. Do you want to go one by one?
We could.
All right. So go ahead. Who's your number 1 player on this roster?
Terry.
I have Chase Young. I think Chase Young's the number 1. I love Terry. He's my number 2. I'll just give that out now. Terry at number 2, but I don't hate you for putting Terry at number 1, but I think Chase Young is the freak of nature that demands the triple teams, that is really makes this defensive line number 1 in the league, is what Chase Young does, where Terry, he definitely improves this wide receiver room as far as in the rankings, but he doesn't make us our number 1. I don't know. It's kind of ticky-tack because I think they're both great, but Terry at number 2. So do you have Chase Young at number 2, or who do you have number 2?
The reason why I put Terry number 1 because Terry was our best player the last 2 years. Last year he was the best, and the year before he was the best with Chase on the team. That's why I say Terry is number 1, and I don't think that changes a thing. I think he's our best player this year. Mm-hmm. But my second, I'm going to go with 2 and 3 was close to me, but I went with Chase. Yeah, I went with Chase my second.
All right, Chase at number 2. All right.
Yeah, I went with Chase.
So this might be where we diverge. Okay, so we agree on number top 2. And as I said, I don't know if I necessarily wrote this down in order, but as I said, I'm going to ride with it. I think it's fine. I think he could definitely be number 3. So who do you have at number 3? I already got mine written down.
Number 3... This list would be a whole lot different. It was the most important players. They'd be different. I think the first 2 is still staying. But 3, I got Cam.
Cam Curl.
3, I got Cam.
I am gonna be honest. I don't even have him in my top 5. I don't even have him in my top 5.
I got Cam because he had. When I look at John, Deron, and Montez. They haven't had that one impact year for me that says, okay, Cam in his first year had a very, 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 very high impact season. Very high impact. First year, 88 tackles, 2 interceptions. I think like what he had, like 4 pass break or something crap, like he had like some.
I think he had
crazy...
4 interceptions.
No, he ain't had 4. I think he had 2. I remember 2. I remember 1. No, he had 3. He had 1 against the Panthers. He had 1 against the. He had 3. He had 3 picks. I
think he got 1 at the end of in the Philly game, the last game of the season.
He got the Eagles 1, the 49ers 1, and the Panthers 1. So he had 3 interceptions. And Cam is a huge reason why our defense was ranked 2nd in the secondary. Without Cam, we're screwed. I don't care what Jack Reed.
No, wait, hold up. I'm confused. Oh, yeah, it was 3 interceptions. You got it. Okay.
And Cam is basically the leader of that secondary, basically. He's the best player in our secondary to me, so I put Cam at 3.
I disagree, okay? I disagree that he's... I don't have number 3 as the guy, but I have another guy that's the best in our secondary. But I put at number 3 Montez Sweat, okay? He's a freak of nature, 270 pounds or whatever, 280 pounds, running a 40-yard dash. He is all over the quarterback. He's learning more moves to be able to not just use the speed rush, but get. I hope that William Bradley King teaches both Chase and Montez how to do the spin move. But I got Montez Sweat in the top 5, and I put him at number 3 for now, and that's where I have it. So number 3, Montez Sweat. Number 4. You want me to go or you want to go?
You can go ahead.
All right, number 4. I don't even know if you're considering this guy, but technically he's still on the team for now. Brandon Sheriff at number 4. Okay, he's an All-Pro. He's fantastic. 90 PFF basically, or high 80s usually. The guy is an absolute monster inside. Can get the push you need. Can protect, pass pro, run block, everything you got. He is fantastic. He does get injured quite a bit, but even when he plays through injury, he's a top tier guard in this league, if not the number 1 guard. Probably top 3 at least. I have Brandon Sheriff as number 4 on my list.
At first, I didn't think about Brandon until I seen Roger said his name.
Uh-huh.
So I had to put Brandon at 4 because he's definitely our best offensive lineman. It's not even close.
Mm-hmm.
I had to put Brandon at 4.
All right. So number 5. Number 5 is the one that I was like, I don't think you're even considering. But you go ahead and give me your number 5.
Who was my 5? Gibson. Gibson was my 5.
Antonio Gibson.
Gibson was my 5. The reason why last year
Mm-hmm.
we ran the offense through him. And I think this year is going to be the same thing. We're going to go through Gibson.
All right, so no Montez Sweat for you. And then right now I don't have Cam Curl. And then you don't have this guy because I also don't have Antonio Gibson. I have the guy that I think is the best player in our secondary, and that's William Jackson III. He can shut down just about any receiver in the league. He's got great man-to-man. The dude's got great speed, great talent, and we brought him in on a fantastic deal for such a great corner, and I think he will be a top 5 player on this team, especially on this defense behind that front 7 where he's able to actually get in there and not have to worry about getting beat deep, because if they have to wait for a deep pass, the pressure's going to get there, right? And Cam Curl hopefully will be on his side to help protect him over the top as well. I think that William Jackson is going to be a phenomenal player this year and so huge for this team. I like William Jackson at number 5. But I do like your top 5. So if I had to go with your top 5, I don't hate your top 5. I think Cam Curl's still too high. I'd put Brandon Sheriff ahead of him, and I'd put I don't know if I'd put Gibson. I don't know. That's interesting. I'd have to go with it.
I don't know. Will Jack not better than Cam.
I think Will Jackson's phenomenal.
Will Jack don't. Will Jack is really, he's dependent on his safeties. Cam is really dependent on himself. Like, I always tell people, when you look at Will Jack, he was playing with, in my opinion, a top 3 safety tandem in Von Bell and Jesse Bates. Let's make that clear.
Maybe even just number 2 behind the Bills?
Who?
I'm saying Cincinnati might be a top 2 safety duo behind the Bills. Maybe not going into this year, but last year they were probably number 2.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why he was able to be as good as he is.
Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't have the front 7.
He didn't, but he still had. When you got those 2 safeties back there, that helps.
Well, he's going to have a great safety behind him this year.
And the thing about Cam is probably going. Well, it's not even probably. He's going to have to do the most work in the secondary. I think that's just a fact. He's going to be moved around more than anybody. So he's going to be used in more other spots. So he's going to do more. That's why I say he's going to be more impactful and he's more important. That way I say he's the best player.
I don't know if he's going to be more impactful, because if William Jackson's able to shut down Amari Cooper, shut down Kenny Golladay, and shut down whoever the receiver Philly wants to put out there as their number 1, and then also come in and help against a lot of these top receivers that we're going against, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, the Tyreek Hill. No, we don't play the Chiefs, right? We play.
Yeah, we do play the Chiefs.
Oh, the Chiefs. Yeah, Tyreek Hill. If he can put a limit on those guys as a number 1 corner where he sticks on them like glue, that is one of the biggest impacts you can do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
But that's what he's doing. One thing.
But that one thing is critical.
But that's cool. But my point is, Cam is going to be doing multiple things.
Yeah, I'll give you. He's definitely going to be moved around more in a sense I think Will Jackson is capable of traveling.
If you look at the number, I don't look at numbers like that. I look at your production first, but I know his production going to meet the numbers. If you look at Cam's numbers going to be better, regardless.
Well, it's hard to judge a corner's numbers because they don't get the tackles and stuff like that.
Exactly, but that's my point.
It doesn't take away from what they do. It's not like you would never say Deion Sanders is worse than London Fletcher because London Fletcher got more stats. It's like Deion Sanders was phenomenal because he shut down a side of the field. Not saying William Jackson is. Not saying
who needs who more.
Whatever's
who needs who more.
Who needs needs what? I'm sorry.
Who needs who more?
Who needs who more?
Like, if Cam is not out there, how good really is Will Jack?
I think Will Jack will be fine without. I mean, obviously it's better if he has Cam Curl. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Cam Curl has no
but
effect.
I'm just trying to say, like, we know what Cam Curl is without top corners.
Yeah, but our secondary had to play off everywhere. Like, we also played the bend break.
Darby, that's why.
Exactly. But he got his stats, but our secondary still needed to play way back, even though so Cam Curl got his stats, but he still needed to have a particular type of defense to be able to guard the players, guard the pass.
Towards the end of the season, quarterbacks stopped throwing the Cam Curl's area of the field. They went away from it. With Ronald Darby on the field. Wherever Cam was, that's where they didn't go. Just saying.
Interesting. Jason Tatum says, all right, let's get into some what you guys talking about. Patterson won't play much. Roger Smith has us ranked at number 10, so does DRG. Yeah, I think 10 is an interesting number. They do rank quarterback pretty important, which is valid. Quarterback's the most important position in sports. So it's valid to, if you don't have the quarterback, then that's going to hurt your roster rankings. That makes sense. But I do think that we should be above a team like Dallas and a team like the Vikings. So I think that we should easily be able to fit into the top 10. Maybe not the other ones I wouldn't really press on, but I think top 10 ahead of Dallas and ahead of Minnesota, and probably even ahead of Denver, to be honest. We may be number 9. But anyway, nonetheless, it's interesting. So DRG ranks Terry number 1, Chase number 2, Sweat 3, Sheriff 4. So we actually have the same top 4, but he lists Deron Payne at number 5. Do you like Deron Payne being in the top 5?
Sweat gotta do more for me. I'm sorry. I just can't put Sweat in there. He gotta do something more than that. I'm sorry.
You may be able to
I see Deron, but when I look at best play, that's why I say important players and best players, it was kind of hard to differentiate.
Yeah.
Because if it was important, Matt would definitely be in my top 5. Sweat wouldn't be in it. Deron would be in my top 5.
I think important players, Sweat's definitely more important than Matt, because having 2 edge rushers is, we've talked about this many times, but having 2 edge rushers is critical. Like, if we lost Montez Sweat, like, that's huge. Like, though, you said the only way we would trade Montez Sweat is if we were able to get Kayvon Thibodeau, because you know how important having 2 edge rushers is.
Yeah, but
so I would say importance to Montez is even better.
Yes, that's my point. Montez eating would be because of Matt. The interior players. Matt takes on double teams and beat them consistently. He can do whatever you want. Montez, you have to show me any kind of a move, any kind of strength to just take on one-on-one and dominate. Matt showed me, you put 2 people on him, I'm going to dominate both of them anyway. That's why I put Matt in there. Because I feel like if we put Matt, if we had Matt last year, playoffs be different.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think Kendall Fuller might not even be in the top 10. Honestly, if you actually start looking at it, he may not even be in the top 10 best players on this team. Because I'm probably ranking. So I already have my top 5. I agree with you on Gibson.
The whole D-line definitely in the top 5.
Yeah, well,
the whole D-line is 5.
Well, I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'm putting. So I already have my top 5. I'm putting Gibson ahead of him. I'm putting Cam Curl ahead of him. I'm putting Curtis Samuel ahead of him. I'm putting Deron Payne ahead of him. I'm putting Jonathan Allen ahead of him. I'm putting Matt Ioannidis ahead of him. Like, there's, I don't even think he's in the top 10 best players on this team, which is pretty crazy to think of. I'm not even saying this as like an indictment on him. I'm saying that's how deep our team is. Kendall Fuller's probably not even the top 10 best players on this team anymore, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But anyway, DRG said Sweat had 10 sacks, and 10 sacks.
He had 8. I don't think he had 8. I think he had 8. I don't think he had 10.
Oh, okay. You know what? I don't know that to be a fact. Let me just look it up.
I think it was either 8 or 10. I mean, 8 or 6 or something like that.
He had 9. So right in between what you guys thought, 8 and 10.
That's a quiet 9.
It's a quiet 9. But the thing about our D-line is we didn't get a lot of sacks as a team because of how far we were playing back, the quarterback was getting rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds, like every play. Like, it was so frustrating to watch the Lions game because Matt Stafford just picked us apart, which should be a lot different. What up, Johnny Vargas? $370 equals 10,000 Washington football team. Cherries. Vargas, I guess, is betting on this Skins winning the NFC. He's getting good odds. So good luck.
Good.
Good luck. All right, let's see here. All right, so a couple other questions here on the roster is who will be the most improved player from last year to this year?
I'm going to let you go first.
Sounds good. It's actually Mr. Jason Tatum's boy. I say Kendall Fuller is going to be the most improved player. Not because he was necessarily bad last year, but he was kind of playing out of position of where you would actually want Kendall, right? You don't really want him guarding the number one receiver. With William Jackson coming in, and if Benjamin St. Juste can take the other side, Kendall Fuller moves to the slot where that's his best position, and he could actually excel tremendously on this team, and I think he ends up being our most improved player because I think he could even get more interceptions, more stats, and be at his best. Kendall Fuller, the most improved player going into the 2021 season.
I feel like it's a top three. Mm-hmm. My top three I'm choosing from is either Gibson, Terry, or Chase.
Okay. I think if it's the most improved, then you have to go Chase. I think you have to go Chase. Because if Chase gets that 14 sacks, like Terry would have to get 1,700 yards to be as more improved, right? Or Gibson would have to get like 1,500 yards.
I think 1,500 plus yards and 10 touchdowns is definitely more improved. That's a huge. Well, it's not really. That's a huge leap.
But going from 6.5 sacks,
1,000, 1,500.
Yeah, but going from 6.5 sacks to 14.
Fourth year.
If you go from 6.5 sacks to 14 sacks, that's a bigger jump than 1,100 yards. I think he was, or just under 1,100 yards. I think he was to 1,500. It's still a big jump, and both of them were greatly improved.
That's 400 yards more.
I'm not trying to demean that as not an improvement, but I think it's a bigger improvement.
Like this.
What's up?
I think of it like this. Then then this is how you have to judge it. Then Chase Young can get those sacks because he has freaking all pro D line helping him. Terry's got Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing to him. So which one is actually really more impressive?
Well, Ryan Fitzpatrick is probably going to feed him. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is actually a positive for Terry's stat line because he's going to freaking sling the ball to him all over.
Fitzpatrick or the D line?
As far as for a stat sheet?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not even close.
You got to look at it like, what's his name? Stevie Johnson had 3 years over 1,000 yards with Ryan Fitzpatrick because that's the only person Ryan Fitzpatrick threw to. So statistically, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's one of the best possibilities for Terry, named Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson.
I'm going to go Gibson.
Gibson? Okay, so you're just going to go completely left field, Antonio Gibson.
I just believe that we're going to run our offense through Gibson.
Yeah.
And he's going over that. Well, we'll get into that later.
Actually, you can go into it right now. Antonio Gibson says he wants to crack 1,000 yards. Will he? Go ahead, get into that. So you said he is.
He would definitely, because last year, and also what I read in it said he wanted to go over 1,000 last year, but he had got hurt, and he would have went over 1,000 last year. Because I remember early on in the season, like midway season, you said you was like, I don't know if he's gonna get it. And I told you he would, but he had got that toe because he started killing everybody towards the end of the season.
Sure.
And the reason why, because what's his name? Gibson was leading the league in rushing touchdowns before he went out.
11 touchdowns in 11 games. It was insane, yeah.
So he was on pace to get 20 his rookie year.
Maybe not that many, but 16, 17, a lot. It was a lot of touchdowns, yeah.
So his rookie year, and knowing that we're going to go through him, I think he goes well over 1,000. I think he gets at least 1,250. rushing yards, and I think he gets at least 15 to 18 touchdowns.
And then another part about him is how many yards is he going to get out of the backfield as for a pass catcher. He could end up with 600-700 yards rushing, like a Kamara CMC type.
He could be a thousand guy.
He could be.
I just think we should go through him, and not even that. He could be a fresh thousand guy.
True.
A fresh one, not a beat up, dragging throughout the season. No, he can be a fresh thousand.
Fair enough. All right. I agree 1,000%. I think he's going over 1,000. I don't think it's going to be that hard for him. I think 1,000 yards. The only thing stopping him from 1,000 yards is health. That's the only thing. If assumed playing 16 games, he will get 1,000 yards. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Well, they added an extra game.
Oh, it's true. Playing 17 games. But, I mean, even if he played only 16 of those 17s, he's going over 1,000.
I tell you what, he's going over 100 against the Chargers and the Giants.
Oh, that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Where did the Chargers rank on that list, now that I think about it? Titans, Colts, Seahawks, Steelers.
Allen is not extremely productive DRG. I don't know where you got that from.
20 is Los Angeles Chargers. So
it's
interesting.
Dang.
Allen is extremely productive. No, Allen is not. Allen is not the production guy. He is the I do it all. That I do the nitty gritty stuff. He's the the Dennis Rodman of the Bulls kind of thing, where it's like he doesn't have all the fancy numbers and stuff, but he does all the nitty gritty, dirty stuff that behind the scenes.
I'll plug him at
edge.
edge. I'll get him out of there. I'll plug him at edge, to be real with you.
I'll put him wherever. I'll put him in any technique on the defensive line. I don't care. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. I don't care. I'd put him anywhere, and I think he will be a phenomenal defensive lineman. I love that dude. He's an 80 PFF. I completely agree. He is not as high on Allen as I am. I think Allen is fantastic.
I think that's a perfect segue into our next thing. Upcoming cut. So Goins and Be Tough or whatever.
Well, I had one more thing about the roster of who will be the biggest surprise.
Okay, let's go.
Yep. So who will be your biggest surprise of the 2021 season?
You already know.
I think I do know. And I think it's probably an obvious answer. Yeah.
Go. Listen, and I'm going to go bold. If he starts, by the end of the season, he'll be a top 10 corner.
Oh, I love it.
With 5 interceptions. Rookie year. Benjamin St. Goat. 5 picks.
Defensive Rookie of the Year? Defensive Rookie of the Year?
I ain't going that far.
I mean,
I think Jamin gets that. I think Jamin gets Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think Jamin gets it. I think him and Jamin. If Jamin is in the running, I think he's in the running because they're on the same defense.
Probably.
So I think him and Jamin probably be fighting for it.
All right, I agree. I think that's going to be the biggest surprise to the overwhelming majority of fans that just tune in for the games, not knowing who this guy is, finding out he's a third-round pick, and I think that's a great answer. That's probably the best answer. I'm going to go out on a limb, and because I'm going to take a route that it would surprise me. Okay? So I'm not even predicting this. Well, I kind of am predicting it. You know what? I don't care. I'll own it. I'll predict it. The biggest surprise of this year, especially with how hard I was on this, John Bates, tight end, of actually being a red zone threat, actually putting up like 500-600 yards, being a beast in the run game, and actually being almost a borderline fantasy tight end. John Bates, biggest surprise, and that would shock you. It would shock everybody, shock the world. But John Bates will be the biggest surprise. He's got a lot of hype coming out of camp. I like it. There you go.
No shot.
Your reaction is exactly why it'll be the biggest surprise going into 2021. Biggest surprise for the Washington football team.
As long as it ain't Derek Forrest, I don't care. As long as it ain't him.
That would be a surprise, too, if he could be
You already know the only thing Derek Forrest is good for It's talking Ron in the draft and Desmond. That's it. That's the only thing he's good for.
Alrighty. All right. Okay. You know what? I put this in actually in opposite order, but I'm going to flip it because it makes more sense. Continuing on the roster here. There's a big cut that a lot of people may not see coming. And it could be on the level of Adrian Peterson being cut that a lot of people didn't see coming. And that is, will Landon Collins be cut prior to week 1? Will he? Should he? Those are my 2 questions for you.
Will he? I don't know. Should he? Absolutely. I don't want to see Landon Collins on his roster. Whatever we can say by cutting his butt, cut him. I don't care. Do something with him. Get him off the roster. I don't want to see him back there as safety. I don't want to see him anywhere. If he don't want to play linebacker, he gets to get his butt and go somewhere else. Either that or give me some money back. Those are my options. I want 10. Give me Fitz. Give me $12 million back. Then we'll keep you. If not, get your butt off my team. I figure out a way to go get a free safety. Matter of fact, I trade if the what's their name? If the Broncos want him, you can have him. Give me Stearns. The Broncos want him, you can have him. Give me Stearns. But Landon should be cut. Period. In the discussion. His money is too much. We got all these other players to pay. Get him out of here.
So, I was on the train of it made no sense to cut him. Okay? Up until, a lot of people were saying this in the chat. Chris had said this too. I did not know that the salary cap rolled over. I didn't know. I thought you had a salary cap for the year. You use it or you lose it. Right? And then you go on, and the next year you have a certain amount of money. You use it or you lose it. I didn't realize that any money that you save this year can be rolled over into next season. And even though it's only $218,000 saved this year, but we will save it all next year, I say that we should cut him prior to week 1. And
So
I'm
how much you
actually
save?
we would save only $218,000 for this season, but next year we would save $16 million.
Oh, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
And
what I could do with 16?
I hear you. Because
Deron be getting you structure right now, buddy.
Yep. Terry.
Deron, hey, 16 not gonna be enough for Terry, but
It helps. It helps.
Deron, it definitely helps.
So
Yeah,
the unknown ism said trade Landon Collins. The problem with Landon Collins is you
It's the
can't trade him.
contract.
You can't. And his contract's too high, and he's coming off an Achilles injury, which is another reason we should cut him. Achilles injuries are very, 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 like, career-ending or career-altering kind of thing. So you should
Side
cut him.
note.
What's up?
Side note. Brandon's not gonna resign. It's July. I think the deadline's passed. I think. But side note, Brandon not resigning, sadly. So he's gone next year. So
We have, I think, 8 days to sign him. I think July 15th is the deadline. And I haven't heard anything as far as, like, talks are progressing or not.
yeah, so
And honestly, I don't want to re-sign him. Not because he's not good, but I don't want to spend that much money on a guard. And secondly, we traded for Eric Flowers, who I think is a solid guard. We have Wes Swetzer, who could be a solid guard. And then I think Sadiq Charles could step into that role next season as our right guard, and we probably wouldn't even miss that much. Especially with cost-benefit analysis.
now if you're saying if he hits the market, resign him, you don't want to resign him, I don't got a problem with that. I wouldn't resign him neither. Because then he's gonna be at like something like 23, 24, or what he's gonna get on the market. But as of right now, trying to get him back, heck yeah, I'll do it. But it don't look like it's gonna happen. So if this is Brandon's last year with us, at least let him go out with a bang. Like send him off in like a second round playoffs. You know what I mean? Send him off right.
That'd be fun. I don't know. You know, I love Brandon. Brandon's my lookalike. Okay, he's a great great competitor. He plays through injuries. He doesn't say crap in the media of dumb stuff. He seems like a really cool, down-to-earth dude from all reports. There's nothing to hate about Brandon other than the fact he gets injured too much. And it's frustrating to watch sometimes. But I love Brandon, and if we could find a way to pay him $15 million or less, I wouldn't, it wouldn't hurt so badly, I guess. But to pay a guy $17, $18, $19 million a year for a guard is just too much money when you have too many other priorities moving down the pike. Anyway, so that's interesting. So we got the biggest surprise. And the last thing that could be interesting for the roster is a guy that Washington was reportedly interested in earlier in this offseason and now looks to be more likely to become available. And that is the wide receiver out of New England, former first-round pick N'Keal Harry, apparently formally requested a trade from the Patriots. Should Washington look into going after N'Keal Harry? I ask you, Chris.
I give you, what I trade? I trade you Humphreys for Harry. Because we know how they like the slot receivers. I give you, because Kelbo and Cam is probably untouchable. You know what? I give you Cam for N'Keal. Because I know for a fact they're going to want Cam. I know that for a fact. And I want Cam to go somewhere where he can flourish, succeed, or whatever. I take Cam for N'Keal Harry. I bring the Curry in here specifically for possession catches only. Maybe they can actually figure out a way to resurrect his first-round talent, which they probably could. But the lineup would be Terry, Diami, Curtis, Kelvo. That's 4. Harry, and Humphreys. So I think Humphreys going to make the roster. And that's a good, solid lineup.
I am actually...
For a possession receiver.
Yeah. I mean, if we could trade Cam Sims for him, fine. But it's probably going to cost draft capital. And probably not a high draft pick.
I'm not trading.
Well, it's probably not. It's probably not high draft capital. It's probably like 6th round pick or something.
If I can say, I trade you Cam, and give me Harry in the 5th back.
I'm sorry, N'Keal Harry's going to be worth more than Cam Sims right now, isn't he?
Heck no, Cam Sims is way better than N'Keal Harry right now, especially after what he did.
Then that's even more reason not to trade. Why go after him if we already like Cam Sims more?
Because what if I can get a 5th?
Well, if I could add capital for if I could add any capital for Cam Sims, I'm trading Cam Sims tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, I need to add capital, but I'm not trading for N'Keal Harry.
But straight up,
I'm not. I'm not going to trade for N'Keal Harry because I don't see the benefit. Honestly, he's not going to start. He's 4th or 5th, maybe even 6th on the roster if he makes the roster.
That's fine.
He may not even make the roster. Honestly, we're actually quite deep at wide receiver going into this season. You don't know what's going to happen because also how much stock do they put in punt returner, and does a DeAndre Carter make the team because they feel the desperate need for a punt returner? That's still a question that's up in the air. Now, I don't want DeAndre Carter to make the team, but also you drafted Dax Milne in the 7th round.
Oh, don't get me started with him.
If you drafted Dax Milne, why not keep him? Maybe.
I think they still keep Dax, but I just think Dax goes to his practice squad.
Yeah, well, Dax Milne may make this roster because Dax Milne can do more than just slot. A lot of people don't really. He played on the outside over there in the BYU. It was BYU, right? Yeah. Is that where Zach Wilson played? Okay. But yeah, so he played outside. He actually could do a lot. He's an interesting guy, and he could be what we wanted Trey Quinn to be when he came out of SMU, and he could be a better Trey Quinn, and then Adam Humphries, only a 1-year deal, could then all of a sudden be let go for Dax Milne, and then Dax Milne under his wing starts to rise as an interesting guy.
No, I'm good on Dax, and he looks horrible right now to me.
And also, I'd be really upset if we traded for N'Keal Harry and then Dax Milne did not make this roster when we could have had Trayvon Grimes out of Florida. Trayvon Grimes was available at pick number 257 or whatever it was.
He's still available.
No, he's on Philly.
No, he got cut.
He got cut?
He got cut.
Then go get him if you want a big receiver. 6'4", running a sub 4.5. The dude has he freaking put Patrick Surtain on freaking cartwheels. He couldn't know where he was. Scored a touchdown on him. The guy was every 4 catches was a touchdown. I think he only had like 38 catches and turned him into 9 touchdowns. He's a great red zone threat. He's a great deep threat. He's everything you want that N'Keal Harry would be. Go get Trayvon Grimes. What's the problem here? And that's free. You could get him for the vet minimum.
I wouldn't mind N'Keal Harry. I really wouldn't.
N'Keal Harry is just not it for me.
Because for me, I believe that he's still worth that first round, that late first round they spent on him. It's just he went to a bad situation. They never utilize outside receivers. They never do, ever. The only receivers they use are slot or tight ends or running backs. So I just think that was a bad situation for him.
I mean, there's probably some truth to that. Would you rather have Harry up against the linebackers than CB's move to tight end? Is where I would move him. Interesting, actually. That's an interesting take. Could we maybe use him as a tight end? How big is N'Keal?
Yeah, I like Ricky Seals-Jones. I'm good.
N'Keal Harry size. He's a 6'3", 6'4" guy?
6'4".
This puts him at like around 6'3". I don't know. Somewhere in that range. This is 6'4", 225. You know, he'd probably have to gain like 20 pounds to be an actual tight end, but that actually could be actually a very interesting. But I don't know if he could block. There's still a lot of question marks on that. But I would be more interested in bringing him as a potential tight end than I would be interested in bringing him as a receiver. But even then, I don't even want him as a tight end.
We got so many tight ends.
Because I think our tight ends are interesting. Yeah, I like Sammis Reyes' potential. Of course, I like Logan Thomas. John Bates is getting a lot of praise. And then Ricky Seals-Jones at number 4. It's interesting.
I like Harry for the Niners. They need another weapon.
Oh, Harry for the Niners.
That'd be perfect. That'd be a good fit. Put him in the slot.
And with their injury history with receivers, Devo and Ayuk both have got injured.
He'll definitely have a chance.
For sure. I like what Ism said. Don't waste draft capital on Harry. I get it. Sign him if he gets cut. Yeah, that's another thing is if he may end up just getting cut, and you may not have to trade any capital for him. And that's a whole nother question, actually. I like that, Ism. Thank you, unknown Ism. What if he got cut? Should we sign him?
Are you crazy? All right, now, AJ, I just think you're joking.
Yeah, he's 100% joking. Who needs Harry?
Now, if they want Sims, if they want to do straight up for Sims, have at it.
Well, hold on, no. I asked you a new question. What if he got cut? Do we go sign him for just whatever the contract is off?
No, I'm not paying you nothing. I'm not spending no money. You can get 1 year, $200,000. That's what you can get from me.
Fair enough.
Or that he can get a deal like they gave Humphreys where the money ain't nothing.
Yes, outlaw thing. Don't forget Calvin Harmon. Yeah, we talked about Calvin Harmon. Calvin Harmon is a lock according to Chris. I still have questions coming off the ACL. I don't know. It's interesting. Is he a guaranteed roster spot? I think he's probably on the inside looking in. I don't know what the saying is. I think he's more likely than not to make the roster, but he's still got to prove it in this preseason and stuff for me to actually say.
He's going to make
That's
it.
What I said, right?
I believe he's our second best receiver. I think that's just me.
Nah, I'm putting Curtis over him.
I don't think Curtis. I don't think those outside of Terry.
And I think De'Ami Brown will prove to be better than him as well, personally. We don't need N'Keal Harry, says Roger Smith. Y'all like Anthony Davis kept getting hurt to Achilles. Yeah, see, that's another point. Great point. Because he was talking about Landon Collins with his injury. Yeah, Anthony Davis hasn't been right since his ankle Achilles situation. There's a lot of players. The only one that I know of that really thrived is, I guess, KD coming off an Achilles because he had a great year this year and good playoffs. So that's interesting. Roger Smith says pup list for Collins, and when he's healthy, he will be a hybrid blitzing linebacker in certain situations. Spot play really not a big factor. Well, if that's your take on it, Roger, I don't mind Landon Collins in that situation, but I hate Landon Collins in that situation for $16 million a year.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm like, boy. I was about to be like, boy, 16 mil? Nah, you better have to return some punts or something. Throw you in at, give you a couple runs at the goal line, put you in as a blocker or something. You got to give me something out of that, bro. I ain't giving you 16 million to sit somewhere. Nah, whatever I can get out of you.
Oh, that's hilarious. Harmon's our best possession receiver. Excellent blocker in the game, strong hands. Well, not our best. I mean, I'd still put Terry over him, but I get your point overall, Roger. I like Jared Patterson a lot. Jared Patterson, I mean, people like to try to compare him. I know you mentioned Darren Sproles. I think in order for Patterson to be good, looking at his measurables, I think he's going to actually have to be more like Maurice Jones-Drew. A little bit undersized guy, but a power dude.
Drew was a freaking animal.
Well, how fast was he?
I don't know, but he was an animal.
No.
Listen, if he's Maurice Jones-Drew, I'm trading him. If he's Maurice Jones-Drew, I'm getting as much capital I can get for him.
No.
Anything close to Jones-Drew.
Actually, Jones-Drew is 4.39 40 guy. He's still not it's still not as fast as Darren Sproles was, but
I think it's a guy that used to play for the Chargers. They compared him to. I think that was a good comparison. He's a backup, but he was a beast. I forgot his name. He was a backup for LT.
Michael Turner?
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
Michael Turner was a dog.
In Atlanta, he led the league in rushing. He was like 1,700 yards in one season. So yeah, if he could be and Michael Turner, that might be a great comparison because I don't think Michael Turner was very fast. They called him Michael the Burner Turner, but I think that was more just for his name. Yeah, he ran only a 4.49 40-yard dash, and Jared Patterson's a 4.41. What's his size? Because Jared Patterson's super small.
I mean, he's
5'10".
Short. Let's say short. He's not small. He's just
That's
short.
True. He's stocky. But, oh, my goodness. Miles Turner was 5'10", 250. Booking at 4.49. Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't think that Jared Patterson can quite be him either. But it's interesting. I don't know. It's interesting. Mike Davis is actually an interesting comparison.
No, he's not. Mike Davis is not as quick, and he can't catch like him.
Mike Davis, 40-time. Mike Davis size. I liked Mike Davis. Actually, Mike Davis had a decent amount of PPR last year. 5'9", 220. What is Jared Patterson's actual size? Jared Patterson. He's 5'8", 195. He's actually not as small as I thought he was. I actually don't mind these comparisons. This is not as bad as some people might think it is. It's interesting. Jared Patterson, yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a wide open opportunity to make this team. I mean, running back is not a foregone conclusion outside of J.D. McKissick and Antonio Gibson. You know, I think we have, Lamar Miller as a backup.
Oh, yeah,
who else is on, who's in our running back room? I don't even know outside of those four. So he's got an inside track to make the team. Depth chart. Who's our other running backs? Is there anybody else worth mentioning?
No.
Oh, Peyton Barber.
He had a couple nice runs last year.
2-yard Barber. This is the nickname. Yeah, we'll see if we can get anything out of the two defensive ends. Outlaw King says he likes Shaka Tony. I think he's a little bit too undersized. William Bradley King being the other guy. It's interesting. But I don't think they're going to have huge impacts. With a year off from playing regularly and coming off an ACL, what does Lamar Miller have? I don't think Lamar Miller...
Lamar Miller old and washed.
I don't even think he was that good at the height of his career.
He was a beast at one point.
He was average at best at the height of his career. He was never something that was spectacular even then, let alone now after injury. I actually don't really care about Lamar Miller at all if he makes the team. Nobody cares about Peyton Barber. Anyway, all right. Well, that is the Washington topics. I know a lot of you. That's what you guys are here for. Thank you, all 21 of you that are here right now. It's fun. We do have a couple of more football potential topics, and one that could be interesting while you're all here. Let's actually just go ahead and jump on this now. And this is not necessarily Redskins related. It's all NFL. Worst draft trade in history. And I want a couple of you to put in the comments other people that we haven't thought of that we could look into. But Chris, excuse me, a couple days ago texted me saying the Herschel Walker trade was the worst trade in NFL history. And when he said that, my mind immediately went to the Ricky Williams trade that actually included us. I didn't even realize we were the other team involved in that. But let's go over these two trades and decide, let the chat decide who is the worst trade in NFL history. So, the Herschel Walker trade, this is a lot. There's a lot going on here. But let's just say what Minnesota received first. So, Minnesota received running back Herschel Walker, a Dallas third-round pick, San Diego's fifth-round pick, a Dallas's 10th-round pick, when it used to be a bigger draft, I think like 13 rounds or something, Dallas's 10th round pick, and a Dallas's third-round pick the next season. This is what they gave up for. Jesse Solomon, linebacker, David Howard, Isaac Holt, and Alex Stewart. I'm not going to lie, I know none of those names. Okay? So I'm going to assume they were average at best. But here's the picks. Minnesota's first-round pick in 1990, a second-round pick in 1990, Minnesota's sixth-round pick. So they traded 3 picks in that draft. Then they traded a conditional first-round pick if they cut Solomon, a conditional first-round pick if they cut, or second-round pick if they cut Howard, a conditional first-round pick if they cut Holt, and a Minnesota second-round pick, which they ended up getting because they traded away that Nelson dude. So Minnesota they got Minnesota's second-round pick, and then Minnesota's third-round pick. So let's assume they got all these picks. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks, including 3 first-rounders for Herschel Walker and 4 other picks that was his best a third-rounder. So that was one. The Ricky Williams trade, though, is hilarious. So literally, I believe was it Ditka that was the coach at that point?
I have no idea.
I think it was Mike Ditka who was the coach. Couldn't remember right. Let me look it up. Who was the coach? It was Ditka. Ditka traded all of his picks in 1999. His first round, his second round, his third round. No, his first round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, and seventh round picks. Every pick he had. Plus a first round pick next year, who ended up being second overall to get LeVar Arrington. And a third-round pick for the next year for Ricky Williams. Just Ricky Williams. I wager that Ricky Williams was the worst trade of all time. Draft trade of all time. Chris says Herschel Walker. What are you guys saying? When Washington traded the Rams for the first-round pick for RG3,
I don't think that was a bad trade at all. It's just how it panned out after he was stubborn. If he didn't get hurt, that was a great trade.
Yeah, I think it's different when you're going after a quarterback. These guys are going after running backs, which is pretty bad. Yeah. The other pick that I thought was, or the other trade that I thought was horrible is this one. And I don't really put him on the same level as this, but I thought that it was highway robbery at the time of day. When the Chicago Bears traded capital to move up one spot to get Mitchell Trubisky, I thought that was highway robbery the day it happened. When San Francisco moved back, added draft capital, and then drafted the guy they wanted anyway at number 2, which was Solomon Thomas from Stanford, which ended up not being a great pick, but nonetheless, Solomon Thomas actually signed somewhere. I hope he has a good career where he went to next, but he ended up not doing great. But I thought that was another bad trade. But anyway, Lamar Mill back to the Texans? That's funny. But anyway, I'll let you guys, if you guys have in the chat, I'll read it later for what other potential bad trades there are. So another Washington football team member moved on. We cut Morgan Moses, and he officially signs with the Jets. What does this mean for Zach Wilson? Here's the starting O-line, and I think they've actually got a pretty darn good O-line. What?
Just go ahead.
Who are you talking to?
No, I'm talking to you, but you stole what I was going to say, but go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It was your idea. It was your idea.
It's going to fit right in.
You wanted to go with the starting O-line?
Yeah, I was going to go and start off. I don't know who the right guard is or the center is, but go ahead.
Okay, so Mekhi Becton at left tackle, Elijah Vera Tucker at left guard, which I think is phenomenal. I think he's an awesome pickup for them, and I think he is supposed to be a guard. Connor McGovern, Greg at center, Greg Van Roten at right guard, and Morgan Moses now at right tackle. Where do you kind of rank that offensive line, and what does that mean for a young Zach Wilson?
I mean, I don't rank it there. Yeah, I got to see how they work together as a unit. But I think Zach Wilson, the Jets finally built a real team and finally drafted a quarterback at the right time. That's a solid one. Mekhi Becton's a beast. Two, you got Mekhi Becton paired up with Elijah Vera Tucker on the left side. He don't got to worry about his blind side at all whatsoever. Right tackle Morgan Moses is stable enough. And then whoever you want to throw in that right guard, throw him in. I think Zach Wilson has the protection he needs. I don't know what running backs they have, but I think he has the protection he needs to succeed in this first year and to have an okay rookie season. I don't think he's going to go bonkers because for other reasons. But he's in a good situation. He still need a number one receiver, but that's a set aside.
Well, I don't mind his receivers, actually. His receivers are very interesting. Corey Davis is now his number one, 6'4" guy, good size.
Not good enough.
Keelan Cole, I liked him over in Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville just sucked offensively with no quarterback. So Keelan Cole is his number two. And then Elijah Moore, I think, could be phenomenal as a slot guy that's speedster and beast.
Keelan, whoever is not no number two. Jamison Crowder, on what they paid him, he's the number two.
Oh, yeah, they don't even have it listed, Jamison Crowder, on this. That's true. So Jamison Crowder, another nice receiver that can be used all around.
Three good receivers. They just don't have a number one.
I think it's 4 good receivers. And I think Corey Davis could be a number one.
Not good enough to win, to do nothing. No, heck no.
Oh, well, they're not good enough to do anything. They're not good enough to do
Corey
anything.
Davis is not good enough to beat double teams. No team is going double team. They don't got nobody that's going to – no, he's not that. What, like how they did with Joe Burrow and them, when they had T. Higgins, they already Tyler Boyd and their other receiver and all
AJ
that.
Green?
What they go do, they went out and drafted a number one receiver. And that's what the Jets need to do in next year's draft. Draft the number one receiver probably a little bit late because I think they're probably going to go Kyle Hamilton.
You know who I want them to get in free agency next year?
Oh.
You're going to hate this, and that's why I want to say it.
Who?
Chris Godwin. That's who they should add for Zach Wilson. That would be their number one. He's phenomenal. He's a beast. That receiving core would be awesome. Not like the best or anything like that, but that would be a phenomenal receiving core for a young Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson could have a fantastic year number 2.
You must be out your mind.
No, I'm very, very, very salient. I think that's the word. Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, Michael Carter. I mean, a lot of people were hyping up Michael Carter out of North Carolina, running back. So I like this offense. This
they got Michael
exciting.
Carter, the Jets?
Yeah.
Oh, then that's a good running back. That's a good running back.
And
so they just ain't got no tight end.
Yeah, and their defense is interesting though too.
No.
Well, they got Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins, Carl Lawson, C.J. Mosley is old, but still
old.
They
secondary is horrible.
Marcus May got good ratings.
I
like Jared Davis. I think that's a solid value linebacker as far as like not a super expensive guy.
Good on that.
Anyway, I agree. They're not going anywhere. They're a bottom half of the league team right now. But I like what they did in year 1. I think they're
I like it too. I can't lie.
And Zach Wilson, I think, is going to have a great career, even in the crap hole called the New York Jets. All right. What else we got? You wanted to touch on the 5 QBs probably fall out of the top 5. I don't know exactly where you wanted to go with this. So But I
Where I
leave you
wanted
the
to
floor.
go with it
Okay.
is because somewhere in there, well, I think I read somewhere else, we could possibly trade up.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know. Well, I don't know what the scouting team's doing right now. I don't know further down the line, but I know two quarterbacks that we're not getting. We're not touching Howell and we're not touching Rattler. Those two guys are out of the picture. Now, what you're choosing from, you're choosing between Willis, Ritter, Slovis, and maybe Carson Strong, which I'm really not that high on.
What about
Decent.
what is his name? JT Daniels.
JT Daniels or JT Daniels. And a lot of people not high on him right now. I don't know why, but that's what you're looking at. So if I'm Washington, they'll want Ritter. But the point is, if they're going to fall that low, I don't think we would have to trade up to get any of them. But what the question I have is, what if we did trade up? And
if
with
we
that,
traded up, I right now in my early stages of understanding these quarterbacks, I'm still got a lot of research to do by next draft. But right now, the two that I'm interested in that I would be willing to trade up that seem like in reach would be your Desmond Ritter and JT Daniels. I'm not real big on Slovis. I'm not big on that Willis guy out of Liberty, right? Is that I don't I'm not really interested in that
he's
kind
the
of a
Trey
guy.
Lance of this draft.
Yeah, we'll have to
He's
see
a
more.
he's a huge project.
Yeah, I'm not really into that because I would want a quarterback ready sooner rather than later. But I think it would only be those two that I'd be willing to go get. I need to look more into Sam Howell. A lot of people love Sam Howell.
Oh,
I don't know about him yet. I got a lot of work to do on that. But I do like the Desmond Ritter idea, and I like the JT Daniels right now. But there's a lot to go into that before we actually really go into something like that. What do you think? Who will be better, Trey Lance or Justin Fields? I would put my money on Justin Fields, but I would not be surprised at all if Trey Lance ends up with a better career. I think he's in a fantastic situation with Shanahan over there in the 49ers. I think it would be a great offense for him. I mean, because he could do exactly what RG3 did in 2012, and he's got a bigger frame to be able to withstand it. But if Kyle Shanahan designs the offense he did with RG3, Trey Lance could be through the roof. But I love Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields, if used properly, which honestly, I think what they did last year with Mitch Trubisky, I think Justin Fields could be a much improved guy because they were pretty stagnant with Nick Foles, but Mitch Trubisky had the ability to move, and they actually played really well with Mitch Trubisky. Justin Fields, I think, could have a great career over there in Chicago. And we'll see what they do with Allen Robinson. They got another young receiver. I can't think, Mooney or whatever. But anyway, I like Cole Kmet. David Montgomery's a nice running back. So I think I would put my money right now on Justin Fields. What about you?
You already know.
You love
I said Justin Fields gonna be the best quarterback in this draft class.
I think he'll be number 2 behind Zach Wilson.
LOL.
LOL. All right. That is our list of football topics. Let's go ahead and hop into the NBA Finals started last night. We have the Phoenix Suns versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And Game 1 went to the Phoenix Suns. Giannis ended up playing. He played actually pretty decent, but he did tweak his knee again. He had a nice block in transition, but when he landed, you could tell he was favoring that leg. I ask you, who wins the NBA Finals 2021 and how many games?
Suns in 5.
Suns in 5.
Suns in 5. The Bucks, they don't have enough. They have no 3-point shooters. This guy named Forbes that came into the game.
Brian Forbes, yep.
He can shoot. I don't know why he's not starting. That's the only 3-point shooter you got. He needs to start. At this point with Drew Holiday, he's only in there for defensive purposes. Outside of that, he should just be a 6-man. Don't get me started with Chris Middleton. Giannis came back too early. They was going to lose regardless in Game 1. They don't have enough 3-point shooting to contend with the Suns. Suns in 5.
I have Suns in 6. I actually the Bucks are a much better team than people give them credit for, and I think they proved it with beating the Hawks without Giannis. Okay, they have a nice, an interesting roster, but I don't think it's good enough to beat the Suns team. But I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment. I'm not going to be a prisoner of, okay, they got crushed in game 1. The role players show up when you're at home. And so when they come back to Milwaukee, I think the Suns will win game 2, so they'll go on a 2-0 lead. I think the Bucks will actually win 2 in a row at home. And then I think the Suns win in game 5. And then I think the Suns will have a chance to close it out in game 6. And for now, I'll predict that. But I would not be surprised if this goes 7. The Bucks are actually a very interesting team. Drew Holiday had an off game, but I think he could play much, much better. Middleton can get you 25 to 30 points. Giannis obviously is a beast and healthy, but I love Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez can be a spot-up shooter as well, but also get you inside, get good hook shots, play the fadeaway baseline game. He can post up well, and he plays good, solid defense too. He could get blocks protecting the paint. I like Lopez. I'm not huge on Forbes or Pat Connaughton. Those guys are meh. And then PJ Tucker is another guy that needs to stop shooting. But I agree that the lack of shooting is a problem for them. But I do think they have a better team than some people get them credit for. And I think they'll win at least 2, maybe even 3 in this series.
Man. No, sir.
And honestly, if it went down to a game 7, it could be very, very interesting. But I do think the Suns have too much. And who wins Finals MVP of the 2021 NBA Finals?
CP.
He's the front runner after game 1. He had a phenomenal game 1, and he had a great closeout game against the Clippers. Obviously, that's not going to go into whether or not you win Finals MVP, but right now he's shooting something crazy like 80% from 3 in the last 2 games. If he could somehow keep up half of that, even if he goes down to 40%, that's a great 3-point shooting performance for the finals, and he is definitely the front runner. I want to see Devin Booker show up. The games that I've watched of Devin Booker have kind of been disappointed. He's kind of like a volume shooter, and that's how he gets a lot of his points. I would like to see him be like, he did have a nice clutch shot, but as far as but CP3 answered with one right back. So I need to see more out of Devin Booker. Devin Booker was my prediction before the series. I will stay with Devin Booker because that's what I went with. But if CP3 gets it, or if CP3 continues to play like how he played game 1 and game 6 of the prior series, I don't see them having much of a chance. Another guy is, do you give any chance to DeAndre Ayton?
Give him a shot.
You give him a shot?
Yeah, I give him a shot. But he don't have to have one dominant game to. Well, this game he had 20 and 19 or something like this.
22 points, 19. And speak of that, I'm glad you brought that up. It's hilarious. Chris Paul, and if you were watching on the live stream, it was hilarious. I was rooting because the game was over at that point. I was only rooting for DeAndre Ayton to get that 20th rebound. Right? That's all I wanted. And it came down to 10 seconds left. The Bucks shot, missed. Ayton had it in his hands. He tipped it up, and he was about to grab it. And CP3 comes from nowhere and steals the final rebound of the game to not let him go 22 and 20. A 20 and 20 game in your first finals appearance, I thought would have been absolutely phenomenal. And it was stolen by Chris Paul. I thought that was hilarious and terrible at the same time. But, all right, so we agree. Suns, you say Suns in 5. I say Suns in 6. You say CP3 wins it. I say he's the favorite for now, but I'm still going to ride with Devin Booker. And I actually agree with you on the take of Giannis shouldn't have played game 1. I think that you should have given him one more day to rest that knee. But I do also understand the competitive nature of athletes. And when Giannis is your MVP and Giannis says, I'm playing, I'm ready to go, it takes a lot of balls to not trust your player and put him in anyway. And I think Budenholzer probably should have done it, but I don't necessarily hate him for not doing it either. As long as he did tweak it, so hopefully that does not hurt him the rest of the series. The last thing I wanted to bring up, and this will be a wrap for the show. Actually, hold on. Roger Smith says, Bucks have to do a better job at high pick and roll defense. They also need to take the ball out of CP3's hands. Can't let him just orchestrate the offense unimpeded. Yeah, I mean, who was it? Was it Denver that decided to try to let CP3 beat him, and he destroyed them? I agree. Getting the ball out of CP3 hands is critical. Johnny Vargas says, my poor Wizards only hope to convince DeMar DeRozan to sign and trade with Spurs for Bertans and a second-round pick. Even then, I think the Wizards are not real contenders, but it's fun. Finals MVP is going to be tough for the Suns if they win. Yeah, it could. There's 3 guys that I think are in contention right now, especially after Game 1. And Devin Booker being the worst out of all 3. I think it's CP3 1, DeAndre Ayton 2, Devin Booker 3 for now. I'm sure that'll change, though. But anyway, here's a big question going around. And did the injuries this postseason ruin the NBA playoffs and NBA finals of 2021? Are people disappointed? And I'm going to ask you, Chris, are you disappointed we did not see a Nets versus Clippers or a Nets versus Lakers going into 2021 NBA finals, and instead we get 2 homegrown products of the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks? Do you think this is good for basketball, bad for basketball? Do you not like it? Did it ruin the playoffs?
Well, it ruined my bracket. But I don't mind it. It's about time.
Mm-hmm.
About time, because what it does is I hate these little commentators that think they know sports but don't. Chris Broussard and them was saying there's no way that the Phoenix Suns will make the finals. Where they at? They're in the finals.
Yeah.
So I like stuff that happens because they think they know everything, but they don't know crap.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy that the Bucks made it, and I'm happy that the Suns made it. Now the Suns are going to win the NBA championship, and everybody said that they wasn't going to ever win it. They're going to win it, and they look dumb. So I'm fantastic with it. Outstanding. Now the league can't cheat.
Now the league can't cheat. I pretty much agree with that sentiment. I actually love the fact. I think sports are fun when you can't necessarily predict the winner. When you go into a season and 90% of fans say this team's going to win the Super Bowl, and then that team wins the Super Bowl consistently, like, it's okay if it happens once in a blue moon. But when it happens 90% of the time that they're actually correct, I think that takes away from the competition in the sports and, like, the whole idea of what sports means to everybody. Because if you think about it, what's the two most important things in sports when it comes to, like, what's the height of sports and gets people most excited? It's the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is number 1. It's the most watched sporting event. It's incredible. And a part of that is because you never know who's going to win. Because it's one game and done. A team can upset somebody at any time. The 17-0 Patriots.
I won't say that.
What's up?
You know who's going to win. I wouldn't say that.
I mean, you didn't predict the Bucks to win it last year.
No, I didn't.
Like, and the year before that was the Chiefs. A lot of people expected that. But the year before that, the Patriots won.
There's a lot of people that did pick the Bucks to win it. I didn't.
I picked the Bucks to win it, but it wasn't 90% of the people picked the Bucks.
Please. It was either that or the Chiefs. You knew who was going. Well, I didn't have the Buccaneers making it in the first place. I don't think they should. The Buccaneers shouldn't have. They cakewalk just like they cake. No, the Buccaneers shouldn't have. It's an ass.
How many people had the Eagles winning it when they won it? How many people had the Patriots winning the last one?
That's different.
The Patriots were down and out. Everybody counted the Patriots out the last year they won it because they were over the hill. They're not good enough. They're not going to win it. The 2019. Yeah, when they beat the Rams. Like, it's. I mean, once they got there, people predicted it, but a lot of people. But people didn't predict Patriots winning the Super Bowl.
Predicted it.
No, I'm talking about before the season even started. A lot of them said they were over the hill. Tom Brady's not good enough anymore. He's too old. Blah blah blah. He went down the cliff. This, that, whatever. a lot of people didn't predict the Seahawks winning it when they beat the Broncos because they thought Broncos were sure-handed to win that Super Bowl because Peyton Manning came there. He threw a bunch of touchdowns. They thought Peyton Manning was going to. Yeah, back in 2014. Like a lot of these Super Bowls aren't like a lot of people aren't predicting the Super Bowl, and it makes it so much more exciting. Where the NBA Finals, you're like, Warriors again. It's the Nets now. They made the super team. Like it makes it less. Or the Miami Heat are gonna win because they created the super team. Like it's not nearly as fun as when you don't know. Like you have a good idea, you have an educated guess, but things happen. All of a sudden, upsets occur, and it's much less likely to have upsets in a 7-game series than anywhere else, especially in the NBA, where baseball is a little bit different. Hockey's even a little bit different because you got puck luck, and then baseball, your starting pitchers only pitch twice in a 7-game series, so you have to have a complete team. Blah blah blah. Anyway, there's more variables in those kind of sports than there are NBA. And then the other one that everybody loves is March Madness. March Madness, one and dones. You never know what's going to happen. All of a sudden, Butler or Loyola Chicago is in the Final Four, and you're like, what just happened? UConn was a 7 seed when they won with Kemba Walker, when they ended up winning the whole thing. Texas Tech makes it to the finals, is wild, or something like it's so much more exciting when you don't know who's, like, you have a good idea of who's going to be the winner, but it all boils down to who had a one good day, and who knows what's going to happen. But anyway, so I don't think it ruined the finals. I think this is actually better for basketball. But the whole problem with it is that basketball, NBA in particular, has basically abandoned a team first mentality. It is all about the player first in the NBA. Like, people are not even you're not even a fan of a team, really. You're Derrick Rose fan. And that's a lot of NBA fans, is they get attached to a player. They're a LeBron fan, they're a Kawhi fan, they're a KD fan, they're a Steph Curry fan. Like, they don't care what team they're on. They're just rooting for that team, or they're rooting for that player. So it's what the NBA wants. So in that case, I guess you could say it did ruin it. I don't know. I'm ranting a little bit, but it's fun. What are you saying? Jazz might go into rebuild mode. I liked the Jazz team, though, too. That's sad.
Why would they rebuild?
I don't know.
No, I guess. I'd trade Wood now, man. No, I wouldn't.
Yuki he thinks that the Bucks are going to win back a three-peat. He thinks the Bucks are going to get a three-peat.
No, negative. Negative.
Yeah, Ohio State lost to a team named Oral Roberts for sure. They might trade Donovan Mitchell for who?
No, they won't. They're not trading
What if they traded Donovan Mitchell for Damian Lillard?
No.
Damian Lillard, Rudy Gobert?
No.
I love it.
They're not trading a player that they drafted.
Jordan Clarkson? Damian Lillard, Rudy Gobert?
They're not trading a player that they drafted that's going to become a superstar eventually, and actually already signed a 5-year max contract. No one wants to play in Utah. He stayed, so they're not trading him. That's dumb. Why would I trade him for a guy who just like him? Makes no sense.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Well, it was fun. This episode ended up almost being an hour and a half, and we had up to 21 viewers. And what do we have now? We got 10 of you here now. Thank you all for hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to get off, go hit the hay early tonight. No game tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow with Game 2 of the NBA Finals on the live stream. Thanks for joining, Chris. It was a lot of fun. And until next time. See ya!